Hello, Morgan. Tough day, right? If I'm talking to myself, it must be. Your memory's shot full of holes, I know. I'm sorry, but it's permanent. So the first thing you need to know is you can trust January. It's an operator, a sort of backup of you and me. It knows what you've forgotten. We've been testing a new kind of neuromod based on the Typhon organisms, mapping their neural patterns onto ours. Problem is, when you uninstall a neuromod, it resets your memory back to the moment you first put it in. That's why you forget. There's supposed to be a process that brings you back up to speed between test runs, but someone could just skip that part, turn a single day into your entire life. Well, that's exactly what Alex did. The question is, why? You're not going to like what I have to say next.
We failed. This isn't the one.
Prey is a beautiful and amazing game I cannot stop talking about and picking apart piece by piece. Now, while this won't quite become a Prey channel, I'll definitely be making videos on this game plenty. All of this is to say that if you don't know anything about Prey, you may be lost on some subjects. Although rather than playing the entire game again or for the first time, I'll give you a brief summary. Prey, also known as Prey 2017, was created by Arcane Games and Bethesda Softworks, focusing on more of an immersive sim style, akin to other Arcane games such as Deathloop and Dishonored. Prey was overly outshined by other games, and the little attention it did get was somewhat negative during launch. Currently, many people hold it in high regard as a very good immersive sim, following the story of Morgan Yu after an alien outbreak of dangerous creatures known as the Typhon ravaged the inhabitants of Talos 1, a research space station that Morgan once made the choices to seal its fate or continue the research as planned. I hope this helps any new people to Prey, and I highly recommend that you actually play the game if you have not. Anything from this point on will have spoilers, so please sit back and enjoy. The love I have for this game comes from many things, and today we'll be talking about the main character, Morgan Yu, the devastatingly beautiful and resistant to good advice sibling to Alex Yu. Morgan's character is a very interesting one, and one I haven't seen talked about enough. As Prey follows Morgan through the game, the first thing that is clear is that Morgan is a silent protagonist. Some of my favorite characters are silent protagonists, and there are probably plenty that you know from other games. Many of them are very interesting, and my favorite type of silent character are ones that show depth through their silence. An amazing example of that can be Isaac Clarke from Dead Space. Sometimes, you do not need to hear what someone says to know how they feel. Simply the way Isaac yells or attacks when he stomps are desperate, frightened, but determined to survive. Things you can simply tell from body language and the ferocity of the moves used by the character, or even Chris from Deltarune. Another silent protagonist that their silence is used to convey what is said at the very start of the game, that your choices do not matter, being made more impactful by your lack of actual dialogue or choice in the matter of what you do. All these characters have in common is that their silence matters to the story of their games, changing how the atmosphere feels or how your story is conveyed through the lack of choice and lack of voice. But how does this apply to Morgan? My interest for Morgan as a silent protagonist is the fact that they aren't just one character, and that there are large differences between the Morgan that you can create and the Morgan that existed before you. Before you existed, the tests and the neuromods, Morgan Yu was a very cold and harsh scientist with a love for results and little more than anything else. Research changed them, made them calculating, and despite it never being said in the game directly, it could be the desire for his family's love, especially being the younger sibling between himself and Alex, fighting for the love and attention, almost turning into a forever for scientific discovery. This Morgan can be seen through many parts of the game when exploring Talos 1, allowing you to piece yourself together through logs on Morgan's main computer, creation of many contingency plans such as December, January, and October, and the invention of the psychoscope, and initial testing to be the first one to be used as a test subject for the newly created neuromod. Another version of Morgan has to do with after the testing, specifically right after the use of neuromods before the incident in the sim lab. Morgan during this period of testing has shown more signs of agitation, forgetfulness, and frustration at the test remaining to go on. His body and mind not understanding what's happening due to the large amount of testing he's been given, allowing his mask of cold certainty and scientific prowess to slip away, as emails within the sim lab show Morgan being reported all over the station as aggressive and his personality unpredictable, and noticing very apparent personality drifts in the way that he completed tests and interviews, as shown in the interview in the trauma center in the lobby.
You seem frustrated.
I have months that are just gone.
I've been listening to the logs, reading the research, playing catch-up.
Do you know how many times we've had this conversation? This is the 5th time.
Does it always go the same way?
Not always.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means?
I think it means you should be concerned as my counselor.
You left yourself a message. Would you like to listen to it?
No.
I think it would help.
I said no, that's not me.
Me.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just know.
You agreed to this. This was all your idea. Yours and Alex's.
I didn't agree to any of this, all right? That Morgan is not me. I would never... Do you know what's going on in psychotronics? Do you?
If I did, I couldn't say. You know that.
What do you know about the Typhon?
We shouldn't talk about them, not without your brother present.
Them. You do know, you snake. How can you sit there?
Morgan, take a deep breath. Here.
I don't want a pill. I want this station shut down. I want Earth.
Morgan.
I said no!
Okay. I'm going to call Alex.
Finally, the last version of Morgan that can be seen is yourself, the player. As the player, you are given the ultimate choice on who you become. No matter how you piece the character of Morgan Yu together, you are not responsible to be anything like them, allowing the player freedom in their choices being the reason why Morgan's silence as a character is much more important, allowing the player to be the voice, the actions, and consequences of the character to inevitably change and become their own version of Morgan Yu. You as the character have control over who Morgan Yu can become, and decide how to play the character and specifically what ending you can get. As I see it, Prey has 5 different endings with different ways you can get these endings, starting with completing your original objective. Using your control over Morgan to destroy Talos 1 and all the researching crew aboard to fully remove the Typhon threat from Earth and anything that can allow them to inhabit human nature and disrupt the food chain. But there is another way. If you don't wish to kill yourself and anything on board, Morgan can use the null wave to save Talos and remove the Typhon threat, wiping them from the station. However, to many, this seems a very obvious choice. Why destroy Talos if you can just save it with the null wave? I've seen this conversation a lot when it comes down to Prey, and I would say neither ending is a definite good ending. If you destroy Talos 1 and kill all the Typhon aboard, everything that has to do with them, that does not officially mean that there are no other Typhon out there, as confirmed by the first encounter being in space hundreds of years before Talos went up, and the existence of the Moon Crash DLC, and the same with the null wave. Even if it kills all the Typhon on board, there are still many nearly dead and starved crew members, and ones that are alive who will definitely want to come back to Earth and report the truth of what actually happened. And you, your brother, and possibly even your father will want to cover it up and remove it from ever happening, logging the deaths as missing people or accidents and testing and telling nobody anything, creating an interesting dynamic for what would happen following the null wave ending, assuming everything goes correctly. And there are 2 more that are a lot less deep but still worth mentioning. During the fight with Walter Dahl, if you incapacitate him rather than kill him, he is convinced to take you and anyone else you saved back to Earth, allowing Talos to explode on your way out. On the flip side of that comes a more cowardice ending in the form of December. Following the December questline and leaving alone in Alex's escape pod, uncaring if you saved anyone or did anything other than leaving Talos safely and early, ensuring your safety and never the safety of anyone else, even that ending not giving you the full picture of what happens at the very end of the game. That's about all I have to offer for this video. This was an amazing thing to create, and as for my other things stated in the intro, I'm really looking forward to making more videos about Prey and immersive sims and arcade games in general. Thank you so much for watching all the way up to this post-game commentary. I always have tons of fun making YouTube videos, and I'm glad you like watching them. Feel free to check out anything else I made, and leave a comment about how you feel about this video, any theories of your own about Prey, games, characters, or what do you like about Morgan Yu, I don't know. But either way, thanks a ton for watching, and I will see you somewhere.